Hello friends, welcome to lesson 43, Education, Urban Planning and Development, Part B. After completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand the interaction between urban planning department for educational purposes. You will also be able to relate higher education and urban regeneration. Introduction. Higher education institutions have a significant role in community engagement and can play an instrumental role in urban planning and development as well. The National Education Policy NEP announced by Government of India in 2020 has presented a very transformative framework for higher education in the country. It has reinforced many of the recommendations already included in the new policy as exemplified through this phrase. The purpose of the education system is to develop a good human being capable of rational thought and action, possessing compassion and empathy, courage and resilience, scientific temper and creative imagination with sound ethical moorings and values. It aims at producing engaged, productive and contributing citizens for building an equitable, inclusive and plural society as envisaged by our Constitution. This has been presented on the page 5 of the National Education Policy. Let us now understand the role of higher education institutions. The multiple roles of higher education institutions can be categorized under various dimensions. Let us discuss some of these. Firstly, speaking about the physical infrastructure. The university as an agent of urban planning, as an amenity and attraction in urban life. University in terms of property development and access to infrastructure. Institutions also on the basis of reclassification of land for building and urban uses. Provision of cultural and sport facilities, provision of infrastructure and knowledge spaces, especially in terms of services for science and technology, parks, ICT access, etc. Provision of also green spaces, gentrification of declining areas and raising property values. Higher education institutions in terms of human resources are instrumental in training and specialization, population dynamics, production of graduates and researchers for different strategic sectors, demographic change, also specialized training for workers in different fields, social mobility, influx of university educated population, spatial mobility, circulation of knowledge workers along with increase in educated workforce. Higher education institutions are also extremely important from economic development point of view. Let us understand how. The university as an agent of innovation and also entrepreneurship, economic revitalization in terms of knowledge transfer to businesses, generation of sources of income for university as a local employer, also business incubation, revitalization of local suppliers whereby university can act as customer of local businesses, provision of knowledge intensive services and creation of new businesses to meet the university's demand. Apart from this, creation of knowledge clusters in terms of attracting research and development, businesses, coalitions of territorial development. Also attracting businesses relating to the university specialization. Higher education institutions in terms of civic engagement can play a role in terms of university's social commitment in enhancing social and cultural capital. Applied research and consulting focused on local policies and development programs. Enhancement of population's capacity for involvement in local issues, and also studying the involvement in solving the social problems with specific focus on special education, poverty, nutrition, health and education. Higher density of social network, increased public participation in various activities, strengthening community capacities. The link between local and university governing bodies requires partnerships to be created that lead to spaces that go beyond being merely points of contact between the teachers and urban planning officers to carry out short-term consulting activities. This requires hybrid organizations and arrangements to channel demand and allocate resources. At the local level, the partnerships should be more diverse than typical authority structure consisting in university, firms as well as governments. They should include the key actors including experienced researchers in the vocational education, knowledge providers in the professional and technology fields. There is need to establish a dedicated urban planning department for education. This can bring several benefits to India's education system. The focus of this arrangement would be to address the challenges facing the education sector, including lack of access, poor infrastructure and low quality education. One of the key advantages of having a dedicated department for urban planning for education is that it can ensure that educational institutions are built in areas with easy access to public transportation and other amenities. This can help to ensure that all students from all backgrounds have equal access to education regardless of their location. Further, such arrangements can ensure that educational institutions are designed to meet the needs of the students as well as teachers with adequate amenities and resources. There are dedicated departments for urban planning for education in several countries such as Japan, South Korea and Singapore. They have seen significant success in improving their education systems. For instance, in Japan, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology is responsible for school planning and construction. This has led to the development of high quality schools with modern facilities and advanced technology. The Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in South Korea takes care of school infrastructure development and has implemented various policies to improve access to education and also support the underprivileged students. These policies have helped to reduce the education gap between different regions and socio-economic groups. In Singapore, the Ministry of Education takes care of school infrastructure planning and has implemented strict planning regulations to ensure that schools are built in areas with easy access to public transportation and other amenities. This has helped to improve educational outcomes and ensure equal access to education for all the students regardless of their socio-economic background. Let us now understand about higher education and urban regeneration. Manuel Fernandez Esquinos and Hugo Pinto, in one of their publications in 2013, have claimed that different roles of higher education and research should be understood in a holistic way when viewed from the urban regeneration perspective. They have discussed various dimensions related to urban regeneration and have integrated knowledge transfer with university organizations and analyzed in relation to city or the urban benefits. The direct and planned effects have been explained, identifying tools and mechanisms of action which generate impacts in urban environments. There is a need to facilitate the interaction between actors who usually belong to different institutional spheres. It has been called as consensus spaces and also territorial development coalitions by different scholars. The connection between local and university governing bodies requires partnerships to be created. This can lead to spaces that go beyond being merely points of contact between the teachers and urban planning offices to carry out short-term consulting activities. According to Manuel and Pinto, this requires a hybrid organizations and arrangements to channel demand and allocate resources. At the local level, the partnership should be more varied in university firms and governments. They should include the key actors in the value chain along areas or practice such as providers of vocational education, knowledge intensive knowledge providers both in professional as well as technology fields, as well as the experienced researchers. This would make it possible to avoid the risks and unintended effects that may otherwise result from the diversification of university roles. Specifically, one risk to be avoided is that of unlinking the university from excellence goals, as this can lead to loss of legitimacy or the universities coming into competition with the private sector, or to its loss of human capital due to the loss of its connection with global advances in science. Simultaneously, the university should adapt their policies to accept this kind of institutional development. They take long time to adopt to institutional renewal. It requires the initiation of incentive structures and specialized evaluation procedures in evaluation agencies with institutional administration that can oversee other functions. It is necessary to create professional profiles and specialized careers with systems and framework which are different from those commonly existing for scientific and academic staff. Simultaneously, the engagement of university staff with various domains of urban regeneration requires specific assessment based on the workload while performing other activities. From the local government's perspective, it is necessary to have elements aiding communication with the university. This must be sustained in a way that is based on similar cognitive frameworks and cultural practices. This requires the ability to capture and use knowledge from university, which relies on the availability of professionals who can be the monitors as technology watch. This must be tailored to the specific processes of regeneration taking place in urban environment. The qualification of human resources may require identification of specific technological capabilities in industrial sectors on which actions are to be focused. It can also or the scientific university output in areas such as humanities and social sciences in those environments with opportunities to use cultural resources as assets for regeneration. The professional training and awareness of people working in local government on issues such as urban regeneration, technological performance, commercialization of university research and technology are key issues. It is then the task of the university to train such people and fill up these gaps. Thus, a vibrant connection emerges between governance needs and the provision of targeted training by universities in key areas of governance and development. The universities are becoming well-equipped sites for the birth and development of enterprises, including the high-tech ones. Business incubators, technology valleys, technical schools created by universities allow the production of technologies of the future, and large industrial companies implement scientific and technical developments and industrialize them. Friends, let us discuss some of the case studies in this regard and touch upon few inspiring stories where the role of universities has been instrumental in urban development plans. New York University and Columbia University are actively engaged in substantial spatial development plans supported by negotiated deals with their urban neighbors that have been in years in the making. New York University reshaped its Washington Square campus as a central symbolic site for its identity as a global network university, and it has, through several meetings with local stakeholders, faculty and students, agreed 7% community use of its site with a further option for the city to build a school. It also set up an internal working group made up of faculty and management to share information and solicit feedback while reimagining the university's mechanisms for governance. Northwest Cambridge Development by University of Cambridge set a preliminary example of how to build local people and local planners into these conversations and draw on their expertise and local knowledge to shape universities' own visions and their urban identity and relationships with their host cities. This was facilitated by well-established university community forums combined with long-term university engagement with the planning authorities and an effective interactive website. Another example is S3 Unica project in Europe. It is the pilot project of Smart Campus. The Smart Specialization University Campus project aims at emphasizing the role of universities in regional innovation policies by providing specialist research and technical expertise in the field of energy, sustainable buildings, and by offering campuses as a hands-on lab where to implement these innovative solutions. Universities involved in the project can contribute to regional knowledge exchange and its translation into innovative energy products, solutions, and also public-private services. The project is also expected to contribute to a broader involvement of the universities in the development and implementation of regional and local innovation strategies by including and conducting specialized research, providing expert knowledge, and also using the university buildings as laboratories where new solutions are tested. Living Knowledge Network in Europe has emerged from the movement of science shops which began in the Netherlands in 1970s. Science shops have been supported by many European governments and the European Union over the past decade. These science shops are intermediary structures between universities and local communities to mediate research on community identified problems jointly. The science shops have primarily comprised of engineering and natural science disciplines. Pascal International Observatory has focused its attention on promoting university partnerships with regional and local governments over the past decade. The Taylor's Network on Civic Roles and Social Responsibilities of Higher Education began in 2005 and now has more than 400 universities as its members worldwide. It focuses on the promotion of university engagement to communities to strengthen democratic citizenship among youth. The government of United Kingdom has also supported a national center for coordinating public engagement by higher education institutions, where universities are supported to foster social responsibility and community engagement. Over the past 2 decades, European Union's Horizon 2020 research program has been explicitly focusing on responsible research and innovation, which mainstreams public engagement in all research projects of the universities. A survey conducted in Polish university towns revealed that the opportunities stemming from collaboration with universities are not fully harnessed by territorial governments. Cities should undertake active measures to work in concert with universities, promote cooperation between research units and businesses, participate in research projects, and co-organize internships and students. Effort should also be made to overcome the barriers to partnership between local authorities and universities, mainly the lack of cohesive state policies targeting the urban development and limited funding. In its 6th World Report on Higher Education 2017, Global University Network for Innovations (GUNI) has focused on this very theme towards a socially responsible university, balancing the global and local, and it calls upon higher education institutions as centers of training and reproduction as well as transmission of knowledge. Higher education institutions are well positioned to link the local and the global. Urgent action is required since the adequacy of the social and environment planning of the current rapid urban developments, especially in developing countries, will lay the foundation for how these cities will function in the coming decades. Since education is a critical instrument in promoting economic growth and development, innovation and inclusion, the distribution of educational opportunity within cities and urban areas must be monitored to ensure that education plays a significant role in reducing inequalities and also facilitating inclusive development. There are also several examples from India. Friends, let us now conclude this lesson. We all understand that urban areas are changing, so is education transforming. So it is the need of the hour that how best we can culminate education and urban development and urban regeneration in an extremely progressive ecosystem. Thank you.